A very warm good morning to one and all present here. We are gathered here today for the lecture program on understanding yoga as a holistic way of life in accordance with the International Yoga Day on June 21st. I would like to invite our chief guest for the day, Dr. Ananda Balayogi sir, our Dean and Head of Department of Philosophy, Dr. Clement sir, and also Dr. Velmurugan sir to the stage. Our resource person for the day is Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani, Director of the Institute of Salutogenesis and Complementary Medicine and Professor of Yoga Therapy at the Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth University, Pondicherry. We are honored to have you, sir. I would like to invite our department head, Dr. Clement sir, to share a few words with us.
When a powerful person is seated here, there is no need for any extra power. A very good morning to you all. Of course, if somebody asks who is the odd man here in this gathering, I think that I must be that person, because I am coming from the language department and I have no deep knowledge in yoga. But I was reading an anecdote just a couple of days ago, and it's a small story and it goes like this. A king who is known for his arrogancy and also short-temperedness. He was going along the road, and under a tree, a hermit was seated, and this sadhu appeared to be a man of letters. Not only that, a very scholarly one, and also a holy man to the core. And immediately, the king wanted to have some kind of interaction with him, because he has been bothered for a very long time to know the distinction between heaven and hell. These are the two things that he wanted to know from the yogi. Therefore, suddenly he went to the yogi and stormed at him. Just tell me, what is hell and what is heaven? But unfortunately, the hermit did not say a single word. He was seated as peaceful as ever, but he did not open his mouth. As I already told you, the king is a short-tempered one, a very arrogant person, and he did not simply like the hermit sitting there without answering his question. Again he pestered the king to give him the answer. Come on, tell me, what is heaven and what is hell? But still he hasn't got any answer from the hermit. He lost his patience, shouted at him, and exhausted all sorts of abusive words at the hermit, but still the hermit is keeping quiet. Immediately, he did one thing, which all the short-tempered people do at last. He took a dagger and he was about to kill the hermit. At that time, the hermit responded, "This is hell." He did not answer it anyway. And as soon as he got the answer from the hermit, the king slowly got up his normal posture. And he was very remorseful for what he has done to the hermit. And then he started talking to the hermit, "Sorry, sir, I should not have been shown my temper in this way. And now I understand my blunder. I am very sorry for it. Now, sir, tell me, what is heaven?" The hermit simply said, "This is heaven." Therefore, heaven and hell, these are the two things that are within us. And if you ask me, I can tell you that happiness is a peace of mind that you have within you. And when somebody tells me, I have lost all my happiness, I think it is a ridiculous statement. Why? Because it is not a thing that you can lose somewhere in our campus or in your house or something like that. When happiness is within, how can you run for that happiness as if you have lost and you are going to find it? And when you take all our Tamil stalwarts, Munivars, etc., you find that they are telling you don't seek God outside since God is within you. ஓடி 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 உட்கலந்த ஜோதியை நாடி 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 நாட்களும் கடந்து போய் வாடி 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 வாடிப்போன மாந்தர்கள் கோடி 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 எண்ணிறந்த கோடியே. தட் இஸ் வாட் திருமூலர் சேஸ். நட்டக்கல்லை நாதன் என்று 4 புஷ்பம் சாத்தியே சுத்தி வந்து மொனமொனவென்று சொல்லும் மந்திரம் ஏதடா நட்டக்கல்லும் பேசுமோ நாதன் உள்ளே இருக்கையில் சுட்ட சட்டி சட்டுவம் கரிசுவை அறியுமா? This is the perennial question that you have to ask yourself. Swami Vivekananda says that we must be like a vast ocean, and the ocean is troubled only at the surface level. We have the tidal waves striking against the rock. We have all sorts of noise and disturbances. But when you go deep within, that is the bottom of the ocean, it is always calm. There is no disturbance. And this is a kind of mental equilibrium that you have to create within yourself, then everything will get normalized. That doesn't mean that you are not going to have any kind of challenges anymore. You will be having it, but at the same time, you will be knowing how to face them. This is what yoga teaches, and this is what our illustrious and a very extraordinary speaker of the day, I think to some extent is going to tell you, and they are the people who can tell you how to take out that the inner peace and live accordingly. I think as a layman, this is what I can say about yoga. And we are blessed with such a distinguished person like our Balayogi, and you are going to have a very, very interesting and also very useful and stimulating experience you are going to get. This is not going to be a mere talk, but it is going to give you a rich experience how to face challenges in life. Because you must understand that we are living in a tension-torn world. Anything can happen at any time. That is why C.M. Joad said, the 20th century writer, in the next world war, men will be fighting with atomic bombs. And in the war after next, he will be fighting with bows and arrows. That means what? The entire civilization will be wiped out. And once again, we have to restart. And don't think that such things will not happen. It will happen. And if you concentrate on the board that has been placed at the place where the atomic bomb was dropped, Hiroshima, rest in peace. This error will not be repeated. Rest in peace. It is addressed to the people who are dead because of the explosion of the atomic bomb. Rest in peace that this error will not be repeated. And people are there in every country trying to repeat the error. And therefore, we must be very cautious. Only when you hear the discourses of people like Balayogi, we will be able to know how to face the challenges in life, how to surmount, because a man's personality is not judged by how many challenges that he has in his life, but how he is overcoming those challenges. That is very important. Therefore, it is a very special day, and I must thank Velmurugan. Ever since he has joined the department, I think that it is no exaggeration to say that he is really an asset to our Department of Philosophy, because he has been straining much, and I extend all my cooperation, but I am fully satisfied. Only with some teachers I can say and talk openly that they are good, and Velmurugan is such a one. Therefore, under the stewardship of Velmurugan, and also in the forthcoming days, I told Velmurugan, why don't you convert this into an workshop? Because the enthusiasm he has, the passion for teaching, and the passion for organizing all sorts of events, it is something uncontrollable in him. I think that it is a part of his character. He was asking me yesterday, sir, what about one certificate? Can we give a certificate to the students because they are attending, sir? We must do something. I said that unfortunately this is going to be only a lecture. Therefore, for attending a lecture, you cannot be given a certificate. You will enrich your knowledge. That itself is a big certificate. And I said that you convert this into a workshop, and we will go for the other department also. We will make it a very massive one, and let us invite our distinguished guest to conduct a workshop exclusively meant for our Pondicherry University students, and there you can give certificate and whatever you like. And he has agreed to it. So in the forthcoming days that we are going to have at a bigger scale. So I wish this program all success, and again I thank Velmurugan for being so cooperative and for conducting this work. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful words, sir. Now I would like to welcome on stage Dr. Velmurugan for introducing the speaker.
So good morning, distinguished guests, dear faculty members, scholars, and wonderful students. I am extremely pleased to welcome you one and all for a lecture on understanding yoga as a holistic way of life on the occasion of International Yoga Day. It is my privilege to welcome our HOD and Dean, Professor Clement Sagaraj Lutz, who is presiding over the event. This event would not be possible without his support and encouragement, which is given to me to do more activities for betterment of students and department. Before introducing our guest, so I want to say a few words about our Dean and HOD. So he is a creative writer, critic, translator, self-taught artist, a specialist in Indian writing in English and translation studies, and authored Prabhanjan's Quill and other stories. He visited Reunion University, France, and delivered a series of 15 lectures on Indian English fiction. He won international recognition as a portrait artist, and artistic creations have been appreciated by the leaders of United Kingdom and the United States of America, Australia, Denmark, and Saudi Arabia, etc., and contributed a set of articraft sketches to #1 squadron of Indian Artists Federation for their Diamond Jubilee celebration, which are permanently exhibited at Tigers Museum. With these few notes, we are very happy to welcome you, sir. And now I want to invite our special guest today, Professor Yogacharya Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani was born to the world famous yoga team of Yoga Maharishi Dr. Swami Geetanandagiri Guru Maharaj and Puduvai Kalaimamani Yogamani Yogacharya Srimati Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani, and has written 23 books and presented 20 DVDs on yoga. He has more than 200 scientific papers and scientific abstracts and compilation on yoga research published. Yoga for him is not just a performance of a few asanas and or pranayamas, but is a means for evolution of human mind into further state of consciousness and awareness. So Dr. Ananda Balayogi is a chairman of International Center for Yoga Education and Research, an internationally acclaimed yoga institute established as Ananda Ashram in 1968. He also chairman of Yoganjali Natyalayam, a world famous institute of yoga, Bharatanatyam and Carnatic music established in Pondicherry in 1993. He is a present director and professor of yoga therapy at the Center for Yoga Therapy, Education and Research of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, Deemed University, Pilayarkuppam, Pondicherry. With more information, I want to add this. Dr. Ananda Balayogi is a currently member of National Board for Yoga and Naturopathy, as well as a Standing Finance Committee, and previously a Scientific Advisory Committee of CCRYN in Ministry of Ayush, Government of India. He also member of a Technical Committee for Yoga Certification Board, as well as Expert Committee of Ayush for celebration of International Yoga Day, which is we are having today. Yoga and Diabetes Programs. He is a member of Executive Council and Director Publication for Indian Yoga Association and Board of Directors of the Council for Yoga Accreditation International. With these few notes, I welcome you, sir.
First of all, a very good day to all who are assembled here. I think it's a special privilege to come to Pondicherry University and your School of Humanities. I remember some years ago coming here through the Applied Psychology Department to give a talk in this place, and have been more to the UGC Academic College thanks to Professor Pancharamalingam, who invites me for different events there. Before I officially begin, I would like to thank our Dean, sir, for his very hearty and kind welcome. And when Dr. Vel Murugan sent me the official invite, which is usually typed up, there was a beautiful handwritten note from our Dean, sir, which showed me how he personalizes the message from the heart, because the hands are an extension of your heart. And thank you, sir, for that. And again, for a very beautiful Valampuri Vidya Ganapati. It's a pencil sketch. It's just amazing. I'm trying to even conceptualize how much time you would have taken to make that. So I value that very, very much, because these days we just buy whatever is the cheapest gift available someplace and give it to the speaker. And then they also don't keep it any place, or they rehash it. Like we do with many things in our country, we recycle things very well, especially these mementos. So this is something which is not recycled, not recyclable. It is something that is imperishable, because it is intangible heritage as far as I'm concerned. So thank you, sir, for that. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Vakundam Nallamanamundam Mamalaral Nokundam Meni Nudangad Pokonda Tuppar Tirumeni Tumbikkayan Padam Tappamal Sarva Tamak Om Yogena Chittasya Padena Vacham Malam Sharirasya Chavaidhyakena Yopakarotam Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim Pranjaliranatosmi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Greetings on the International Day of Yoga, which we have been celebrating on the 21st of June for the past 9 years. I have been privileged to be on the Yoga Day committee from 2014, when we conceptualized the Common Yoga Protocol, till this year, where we have taken it forward with numerous developments. And though June has gone and July has begun, what we need to understand is commemorating the day in some form or the other is very important for us. I would like to express my deep appreciation to all the faculty members who are here, each one of them personally known to me for many years, and the dear students who have made the effort to be here today. Your effort is appreciated. I am student friendly, by the way. You can ask our students at our institute in the university. I go back 20 years when Dr. Vel Murugan was studying at Tagore College. And Professor Indra ma'am was teaching there. And the reason I was there 20 years ago at Tagore College in the Department of Philosophy was thanks to Professor Narayanan. Narayanan sir, a visionary of Puducherry, a teacher par excellence, a man way ahead of his time and yet so simple, down to earth, humility personified. And if I have to tell you a secret of greatness, the secret of greatness is humility. And the truly great people are always humble. If you have people running around saying, I am great, I am great, I am great, run away from them. Most probably they want your money for something. Very simple. And he had conceptualized that in the Department of Philosophy at Tagore College, the students who were doing BA Philosophy should not only limit to philosophy. He said, let me expand the consciousness. Today, 20 years later, the national education policy is saying you have to have multi-dimensions. You have to bring in cross-fertilization of thought from different schools. Now we are saying it 20 years ago, and he's converted the BA Philosophy to BA Philosophy, Yoga and Cultural Tourism. And that is how Indra ma'am, she was in charge of the practical part. And so Narayanan sir asked my mother, he said, Amma, will you please come and conduct some yoga for our students? I think it was 40 hours or something. I think it was around 47 hours. Very interesting number. I don't know where we got 47 hours, but 47 hours. And we had the practical training that the first batch, Amma went and conducted, and I then conducted, and Devasena, my Dharma Patni, who's here, she conducted, Lalita, Shanmugam and all, conducted, and I think it was about 8 or 9 years. This continued until, in our country, if anything good is going on, there'll be somebody to stop it. It is part and parcel of the Indian crab mentality. And seriously, it keeps on happening so much that you say, okay, fine, it's for the best. And someone had to make sure it stopped, and it stopped. And that is why when I had this invitation last week from Dr. Velmurugan, initially I was like, I got tired of talking with Yoga Day. Because right from around April, everybody, because Ayush Ministry has a 100 days countdown program. So 100 days, 100 cities, 100 organizations are given a chance to have a celebration up to June 21. And for the past 2 years, Pondicherry has been given to our Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth. And we had a mass demonstration on the beach, and we had a 2-day conference. We had a 6-week international FDP online with about 28 speakers from yoga therapy all around the world. So all this was going on. So what happened these 100 days, all these organizations in all these cities keep on coming back to the same speakers. And so you get tired after about 30-35 speeches during this period. You are like, I don't want an invited speak any place. But then when Dr. Velmurugan reminded me of what a beautiful innovation was brought into this field by Professor Narayanan sir, I said, today I should be here as a tribute to Professor Narayanan sir, because that would be the way I can give back to him as a salute to that great man. When we talk about yoga, the first thought that comes to mind, standing on your head, a bikini-clad white woman on the top of one mountain top taking an Instagram yoga pose, liked by 1.2 million people. This is the stereotype of yoga today. The second stereotype is some sannyasi sitting in some cave, though nowadays sannyasis are not in caves, they are selling soap and biscuits. So, the world has changed a lot. Things have changed a lot. But still we have either these two extremes. One is it is totally, you have to run away from everybody, hide in a cave or the top of the mountain. Or the other option is this skimpy leotard clad white woman on an Instagram photo. We have these two extremes, and both are not yoga. I'll tell you that much. Both extremes are not yoga. Boga. They are all caught in the extremes. And one message, the first message I want you to take home today is yoga is not about extremism. Yoga is all about the middle path. Gautama Buddha has said it is the golden mean, the path of moderation. Yuktahara, as the beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita tells us, Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkhaha. It says when you are yoked, yukta means to be yoked. When you have two, you see our bullock carts, there are two bullocks. மாட்டு வண்டியில் 2 மாடு இருக்கும் தானே, காளை மாடு. இது இந்த பக்கம் போகும், அது அந்த பக்கம் போகும். Each will go one direction. So you have something to yoke them together to make sure they go in one direction and not multiple direction. That is the meaning of yoking. That is yukta. That is yoga. Yoga is to bring together, orunginaital, to bring together and to focus. One of the meanings of yoga is to focus. So if you are able to focus, you are already practicing yoga. Now the question is, what do you focus on? Because the mind is like light. Scattered light. For example, the scattered light is there, so we can see each other. Because of scattered light, we can see each other. But I cannot do anything with scattered light. It gives me perception, doesn't give me anything else. But the moment I focus that light into a single beam, it becomes a laser beam, and that laser beam of light now has immense potentiality in functioning in different fields of human endeavor. This is what Maharishi Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra gives us a very beautiful concept, Sarvartha Ekagratayo. Moving from Sarva Artha, you are caught up with everything. Imagine your mind being every place at the same time. There's no use at all. So scattered, so spread out. And you bring it ekagrata, you bring it to one-pointedness. That is why the transformation into one-pointedness is a state of yoga. And that is why yoga is not only asana. We have even forgotten pranayama as part of yoga. Today you find many people saying yoga and pranayama. I am like, kahan se aa gaya? Where did they come from, these people? Yoga and meditation, that's another one. Dhyana is a heart of yoga. In the Ashtanga Yoga system of Maharishi Patanjali, which gives us what is called the Yoga Darshana. Now we have the Astika Darshana, the Nastika Darshana. This is part of our Indian philosophical system. Now many years ago, someone wanted to have a yoga class in the Department of Philosophy. And when they asked the person about it, that person said, what does yoga have to do with philosophy? That is the dialogue that came back. I will forgive this if it happens in America, not in India. Our Shat Darshanas are the fundamental core of the Indian philosophical system, of which Yoga, Sankhya, Mimamsa, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, all of these come together, and normally we tie together Sankhya and Yoga. So many people say Sankhya is the theory, Yoga is the practice. This is a common statement. For me, yoga can stand alone. That's my personal conviction. Because I believe that all these systems developed together, they were not borrowing from each other, they developed together. It is like, if you have 3 brothers and 2 sisters in a family, common traits are going to be there. You don't say that this brother borrowed from that sister, this trait. No, it's part of the family. So the whole family is the Shat Darshanas. And Patanjali is very clear in his Ashtanga Yoga, which again many people, because the initial translations of yoga were made by people who had no idea what yoga is. Now with due respect to our Dean, he is a person who is an expert in language. Now if I want somebody to translate something, you don't need a language expert, you need a subject expert. Now this is a big danger we have. We have recently put out 3 books from our institute. One on the 76 research studies in yoga and music therapies in the past 12 years. One book on yoga therapy for care seekers and one on music therapy for care seekers, because our institute in the university has a school of yoga therapy, a school of music therapy, and that whole institute I have to direct it as the director of the institute. Now we have got it in English. Now our chancellor, he said, I want you to make it in Tamil. Then our vice chancellor, who's from the north, he said, I want you to make it in Hindi. Gaya. Translating that book, I gave it to one translator. I said, see, let's go for a professional translator. That person gave such a translation, I closed it after 2 pages. Because it was such a linguistic translation, it was not an expert translation. We have to understand, when you try to translate words, you cannot just translate them literally. You have to understand what is the meaning behind the word, what is the feeling. Tadartha Bhavanam, says Patanjali. When you chant the Om Japa, he says any Japa, Tad Japaha Tadartha Bhavanam. You have to understand the meaning and the feeling behind that word, understand the concept in order for it to have power. Now when we say Appa and Amma, it has a certain feeling. You cannot just translate it mother, father. Amma endra vaarthaikku mother is not equal. Amma is something very special. Similarly, each language will have that. We cannot just do a literal translation. So what happened is, people took all of this and they literally translated, and someone said Ashtanga Yoga is the 8 steps of yoga. Patanjali never said step at all. He said Ashta Anga. Anga means a component part. We can translate it as a limb. Angam என்பது தமிழ்லயும் நம்ம limb we can say. Ana, it means one component part of a system. So Ashta Anga means there are 8 components of this system called Ashtanga Yoga. It doesn't mean one is higher than the other. But the moment you say 8 steps of Ashtanga Yoga, you start to say Yama is the first step, Samadhi is the 8th step. Everybody says I want Samadhi. Nobody wants to go the first step. Everybody wants shortcut. So everybody is like bypassing the first 2 steps in that step approach of Yama Niyama. They say, sir, I don't need, I'll directly jump. I'm sure all of you, when you come to the university or you go to community college, you will jump 2-3 steps at the same time. Nobody will climb one step at a time unless you are a professor. Then we will climb one, because by that time we have got used to going slow. We are not in any hurry by that time. Students are either late or want to get out of class, so they will always be jumping steps. People have this shortcut tendency. So we have to realize it is components. So when we talk about yoga as a wholesome experience, we need all the 8 component parts to be working to the best of their ability. Say I take my car and only the wheels are working. Can I go someplace? If only the engine is working, if only the steering wheel is there. When I took the car out today, my son was sitting inside. I said, are you going to drive? He said, no, inside it is cool, so I'm sitting inside. Steering wheel mattam irundha pattadhu. Wheel irundha mattam pattadhu. Engine mattam irundha pattadhu. Ellame irukano. All the component parts have to be there and all of them should be doing their job. When everybody is doing their job, your car will go without a problem. Same thing with our human body. Same thing with a family. Same thing with an institution. So when we look at the human personality, we realize that we need to look at it in a whole person approach. Today, it has become very popular in yoga therapy to talk about whole person approach. You don't look at the person as having a disease, but you look at them as a person. You know what has happened with modern medicine, and as a medical doctor, I can criticize my system also. We have moved from, medicine was once upon a time an art. Medicine was an art. That art had a heart. Okay, this is how you remember it. I'll tell you how to remember this. Yoga. Where are we? Medicine. Modern medicine. Medicine was a art that had a heart. Then it became a science that had a brain. And now it is a business which has neither. This is where modern medicine has gone. From an art with a heart to a science with a brain to a business with neither. This is where we are. And I'm very afraid that is happening to yoga in modern times also. We say yoga is an art, yoga is a science, it is a philosophy, it is a psychology, and it is a way of life. That is why somebody can be living yoga without even knowing it. I used to give an example few years ago when Sachin Tendulkar was still playing. I said Sachin is a yogi even if he doesn't do Shirsasana. Then I saw him trying Shirsasana in one photo. I said, you don't need it, Baba, you're already a yogi. Because he is in that what we call yoga nilai. He is in that state of yoga. Yoga is both that state as well as the tools to get to that state. Yoga is that state also. Yoga nilai. So yoga is also the ubaya. It is also the tools to get there, but it is also that state. And that is why some of the definitions say yoga has samadhi. Yoga is samadhi itself. And then they say also yoga is also the tools to get there. So yoga as a wholesome way of life for a whole person. You don't come and say, many people come to us in our yoga therapy department in the university because we are in a medical college. And so patients come every day with different diseases. And so people come, sir, ஏதாவது ஒரு ஆசனா சொல்லிக் கொடுங்க சார் என் டயபெட்டிஸ்க்கு. சார் ஏதாவது ஒரு பிராணாயாமம் பண்ணால் ஹைப்பர் டென்ஷன் கம்மியாகும் சொன்னாங்க. ஏன்னா அவர் டாக்டர் முருகேசனுடைய தீசிஸே ஹைப்பர் டென்ஷன் அண்ட் யோகா தான். Guided by again a very great man of Pondicherry University who we miss now, Dr. Govindarajulu. Again a very great man of Pondicherry University, Govindarajulu sir. நம்ம என்ன பண்ணிட்டோம்னா ஹைப்பர் டென்ஷனுக்கு ஒரு பிராணாயாமா ஒரு ஷவாசனா Chandra Nadi Pranayama. You go and look on the internet, hypertension, yoga and Bhavanani, you will get all my research studies. The thousands of free to download YouTube videos, everything, because I believe in copy left, not copyright. Leave the copy. But then you know what happened? I should tell you, nowadays we have plagiarism software, so it's easier to find. Of course, ChatGPT will challenge that for some time. We will get over that also. We'll find another software, don't worry. I saw a beautiful article on the internet one time. And I'm like, this is so wonderful. The person has thought just like I am thinking. The definitions are so beautiful. Everything is so nice. And then suddenly I read one line. It says, my father, Swami Geetananda. I am like, you idiot. You plagiarized my article. You didn't even change that part. Unnecessarily giving my father a bad name. He only had me, okay. They didn't even bother to change that in the plagiarism. Nowadays, of course, it's easy. Then it was a book chapter. I wrote to the author, the corresponding author who was the professor of the department. I said, Kya hua? He said, I was thinking this is a very nice article by my student. I said, at least you should have checked plagiarism. Already done. I didn't want to cause unpleasantness, and I said, okay, chalo, let it be out there, but next time at least be careful with my father's name. People want one practice. Left nostril breathing will reduce your BP. Why? Because it brings vagal tone activation. The vagus is the good guy. The adrenals are the bad. This is how it has been portrayed. Now, if your adrenals are not working, you won't even come from Pondicherry to the university here. Between Pondicherry and Pondicherry University, you won't exist. Because to travel on this road, you need lot of adrenaline. Because you never know when it will be one cow will coming on the road, one dog coming on the road, one monkey coming on the road, one donkey or one human being who's worse than all of that. At least all the animals will only go in one direction. இந்த ரோட்டில் டெய்லியும் வரதால எனக்கு தெரியும், இங்கேருந்து நான் கடலூர் போகிறதால எனக்கு தெரியும். மாடு ஆடு நேராக போயிடும், பின்னாடி வராது. ஸோ அது பின்னாடி கண்டிப்பாக போகலாம். ஆனால் மனுஷால் இருக்காங்களே, இப்படி போனால் இப்படி, அப்படி போனால் இப்படி. So what happens? Constant adrenaline is being exerted. Your adrenals are pumping the adrenaline, your BP goes up. So sympathetic overactivity, high BP. Sympathetic overactivity, high blood sugar. Sympathetic overactivity, your digestive system closes down. And that is why in yoga practice what we find, vagal tone. So the sympathetic comes down, the parasympathetic vagal goes up, and you have balance. This balance is what is called homeostasis. And this is the balance which, again in Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna tells us as samatvam yoga uchyate. Siddhya asiddhayo samabhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam. He says whenever you do anything, it should be done in the spirit of yoga. What is yoga? An integrated spirit. When you are integrated, you are a yogi. When you are disintegrated, you are a bhogi. Very simple. And when you make others disintegrate, you are a dhrogi. That is why dhrogi is one who is disintegrating everything. A yogi is one who is unifying everything. The unitiveness of yoga is bringing all the concepts together. So who are we? We are a physical body. Yes, I know we are all a physical body. I can count how many bodies are sitting here. Including in the back, my dear Dr. Thirumurugan is hiding behind a chair there. I see him also. See, I can count how many people are here. I know you are here because you are sitting in that chair. Some of you sitting straight. Straight item. It's like if you say, it is important to drink water so that you are hydrated. Everybody will take the bottle out. This is how human psychology works. I am learning human psychology because my daughter is doing BSc psychology in Chennai. So studying with her, I am learning psychology now. It's a good way to learn. Now my son will do sports science. I learn sports science also. And this is the way the parent learns. This is your post-dad education. Post-grad education, post-dad education, post-mom education that you get. Integrity is oneness. That integrity creates balance. So, whenever you are doing anything, can you do it in a unified? Where your body is, your mind should be. Where your mind is, your intent should be. But what do? We are scattered. We are fragmented. If your laptop is fragmented, what will happen? Slow down. Very simple. What do? Defragment your hard drive. Very simple. You want to speed up your computer system, you defragment your laptop. You want to enhance your quality of life, you defragment yourself. We have fragmented ourselves. We think I am only the body. Now if you think you are only the body, you are dead. Somebody goes to the hospital, Professor XYZ. He has a heart attack, they try their best. Doctor will come out and tell the family in the Tamil movie style, we have done our best, we couldn't do anything, soul has departed. Next question, என்ன question இருக்கும்? Body எப்போ கொண்டு வருவாங்க வீட்டுக்கு? They will not say Professor XYZ, when will Professor XYZ be brought home? Body எப்போ வருதுன்னா கேள்வி. The moment your life force, which we call prana in yoga, leaves you, you are just the body that is fit to either be buried or burnt or whatever people want to do. Leave it to the vultures if you in a certain community in Mumbai. Parsis. Body. And we realize that body is to be disposed of. Now still some people try to keep it in America. They pay millions of dollars to keep the body, hoping someday people will find how to get them back alive. There are people who are doing this. They are so locked in that body that they want to pay millions, hoping someday somebody can bring them back to life. The body needs to be alive. What is the difference between a dead body and a living entity? Prana, life force. That is why when we talk about the yogic perspective, which is basically from the Advaita Vedanta and from the Taittiriya Upanishad, you find the Panchakosha model. and I believe it is part of one of the syllabus now also coming in, the Panchakosha model, a very important model of Indian thought process. You have a physical existence which is called the Annamaya, made up of food. Even right now, there are trillions, not million, not billion, trillions of microorganisms living on you and me, even now. For those microorganisms, will they be thinking, this is Professor Murugesan, this is Professor Santakumari ma'am? What do they think? Food. As far as the microorganism living on us and in us, is called the human microbiome. Some people estimate there are 9 times more microbial cells than the human cells. Some people say it is 2:1, some people say 9:1. There are more microbial cells than human cells. For those microbes, who are we? Food. It's like for the newborn baby, whose mother? Food. Food and comfort. That's what the mother means to the newborn baby. That newborn baby doesn't know you are a professor with a PhD, with a postdoc. At that time, the baby doesn't know. Later on, hopefully, the baby will grow up to understand the effort the mother has made. So you have a body, that body has come alive because of prana shakti. But now these fans are also having a structure. Fan is also having a movement. So fan is also having Annamaya Kosha and Pranamaya Kosha. You cannot deny it. What is the Annamaya Kosha of the fan? The structure. What is the Pranamaya Kosha? When electricity is going, the fan is moving. So what is the difference between you and the fan? Well, the difference is you have something called manas. Mana eva manushyanam bandhakarana mokshaye, it is said. The mind is both the cause of bondage and the tool of liberation. Mana eva manushyanam, for the human being. We are manushya because we have manas. That mind makes us different. That is why we say that the mind is what gives us the capacity to be different. So you have a mind, the fan doesn't have a mind. But now there are some new equipments, including our mobile phone, which seem to have a mind of their own also. Artificial intelligence. So now your mobile phone seems to have a physical existence, Annamaya Kosha. It is functioning, it has Pranamaya and it has a certain level of intelligence. It is also having a Manomaya. What are we doing? So I will define you as a mobile phone. Who is a human being? A mobile phone. Well, we are close to that actually. Who is a human being? We are a mobile phone. Because all of identity, you can lose your house also, nobody is worried, but if you lose your mobile phone, you are dead. Even that ATM OTP, you cannot get an OTP to collect your Amazon parcel, okay? So you are defined as a mobile phone. Human being is equal to mobile phone today. It has Annamaya Kosha, it has Pranamaya Kosha, it has a Manomaya Kosha also. Habada. What are we going to do? Well, we have the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which has the most important quality of being human, which is the power of choice. I say the power of choice is the superpower of being human. What is it that distinguishes a human being from all other life forms? The power of choice. I can choose to do or not to do. I have that choice. When an animal is hungry, it has no choice but to eat. When an animal is sleepy, it has no choice but to sleep. But you students, when you are writing your dissertations, even if sleep comes, you don't sleep. You say, I have to get my work done. And then in the class, I don't have to tell you what happens. We all know. We are used to. We can choose. I can choose. And that is why Viktor Frankl, who was caught in the Nazi time in the Holocaust, went through the concentration camps, he came out on the other side. And he said The last and final freedom you have as a human being is the power of choice. You can choose your attitude towards whatever happens to you in this world. And that is what makes you human. That is why it is this Vijnanamaya Kosha. இதெல்லாமே கிளாஸ்ல எடுப்பாங்க. அன்னமய கோஷா, பிராணமய கோஷா, மனோமய கோஷா, இதெல்லாம் எடுப்பாங்க. I am trying to give you an understanding beyond what is normally taught here in any place. Because don't let these concepts be something you study for an exam. They have to come alive in you. The yoga has to come alive. The concepts have to come alive, and then they transform your life. Yoga is all about transformation. Self-transformation and transcendence. The two T's of yoga. Transformation and transcendence. Where you realize all of this is illusionary and you want the reality. Like the Matrix. And the beginning of your anthem, which is Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, which is also in the university logo itself. Moving from that ignorance to reality, from darkness to light. Of course, now it is great, you have Vijnanamaya Kosha. Vijnanamaya Kosha is where you have a very important quality called Viveka. Viveka Buddhi. This is actually the goal of yoga, to develop Viveka Buddhi. So that you can discernment like a swan. Like a swan can split the water and the milk. I thought it was only a hypothetical swan. Recently, Professor Gopal, who is registrar at Mother Teresa, gave us a beautiful pharmaceutical explanation of how the saliva in the swan's mouth is actually splitting, coagulating the milk, so the water and the milk are separate. I never realized there was actually a scientific phenomenon to it till last month on Yoga Day. We celebrated on the 16th of June, where he gave a beautiful talk. Professor Gopal, who is head of pharmacy school in the Mother Teresa. Amazing talk. It is said the swan can discern. We used to earlier, old translations say discrimination. Nowadays, discrimination is a bad word. Discernment is the word. You need to have discernment to know what is real, what is not, what to do, what not to do, how not to do, when not to do, with whom to do, with whom not to do. All of this is discernment. It is all Viveka Buddhi. And that Viveka Buddhi, where do you get it? In the Vijnanamaya Kosha. So you have human beings who have no Vivekam. And I am not talking of Ajit movie Vivekam, please. Huh? Viveka Buddhi is the capacity of discernment. Now many human beings seem to lack it. This is why long ago, Aristotle, Socrates, in those days they had a big debate how to define the human being. And they came upon a very simple definition where they said a human being is a featherless biped. I'm sure you have read this, and this has multiple dimensions to it. And so then the next guy comes in and he brings a plucked chicken. He says, then is this a human being? It's featherless, it's biped. Chickens also walk on two legs. They said, no. And then they said, well, we have flat nails. So it is a flat-nailed, human being is a flat-nailed, featherless biped. Imagine what type of definition. Today when I look at the world, we are filled with flat-nailed, featherless bipeds. How many people actually are utilizing that capacity of Viveka? How many people are utilizing the power of choice? It is a big question in my own mind. And that is why we need to search inside, as so beautifully our Dean Sir said. Not looking outside, going inside. Otherwise we are like that Kasturi man, that musk deer, which is constantly looking for the scent of the smell, not knowing it is the source. That is why the great Siddhas, they have said, what is in the cosmos is in us. Andathil ullade pindam, pindathil ullade andam, andamum pindamum ondre. When you realize it is all one and the same. And that is why when people went to Ramana Maharishi, and truly enlightened Maharishi, and they asked what to do, he said, Summa. When people are talking, you say Summa. So people say, oh, Ramana said shut up. Ramana didn't say shut up. He meant be still. Summa here means be still. Because in that stillness, you realize what lies within you. As again Dean sir, he took away many of my points. The surface is always in turmoil. The depth is always having stability. To go to the deep, you have to be still. And that is why it is said, Alaipayum manadai orunilaipaduthi. Alaipayum manadu. The manas is always going like a Alaipayude kanna. Yen manam. Alaipayum manadai orunilaipaduthi. Ullirukkum deivattanmayai unarந்து. You have to find the divinity that lies within you. That's not the end of the job. Manidanai poradi. You have to struggle as a human being. And in the Prapanjame, it is there for, it is karma bhumi, not to make life easy. The goal of human existence is not for an easy life, I'll tell you that much. You can have a PhD dissertation on that if you want. The goal of human life is not to have an easy life. The goal of human existence is not for an easy life. And that is why Indian thought tells us it is to eradicate the karma. Because we have to eradicate karma. This is why I again go to Maharishi Patanjali. For me, there's nobody like Maharishi Patanjali ever. He's a time traveler from the future who went to the past, gave us the yoga darshana that was applicable, is applicable and will be applicable. There are just amazing dimensions in the Yoga Sutra. Everything is there. And in the Yoga Sutra, I will highly recommend the third pada called Vibhuti Pada. It has pure science in it. Pure science. Nobody touches it. They say, Siddhigal solranga, this is all hocus pocus. There's pure science in it. Anyway, that's for another lecture someday. I am a lover of Patanjali. I call him Superman Pat. He's a very dear friend of mine. I think of him in the present, not as, I never say Patanjali used to say. Patanjali says. For me, he is alive. He gives a very beautiful concept. He says, there is a concept of Ishvara. Now, in our culture, the problem, the moment you say Ishvara, we try to put a personality to the God. So, black man saw God as black, white man saw God as white, brown man saw God as brown. We see God as we are. God is beyond attributes. That is again the Indian thought. Nirguna Parabrahma. So Nirguna means you cannot say God is white, tall, short, fat, wears this cloth, eats that, nothing. So we are not talking of God here. Please understand. We are talking of that universal divinity. There is a phrase divinity here. What he says, that Purusha, which is the cosmic universal consciousness, is radiating through us, just like the same water that is in the ocean is in the drop. So they say the drop is having the ocean in it. And what is the ocean? The drop. So the drop in the ocean and the ocean in the drop. Whenever the water is coming, the sea is a good example. My ashram is right on the beach in Chinnamala Chavadi. So if you go to the beach, there the water will come. The water comes and some drops come out of the ocean. So from the ocean, the water comes out and the drop says, hey, I am me. This is the ahankara, the asmita. That says, I am an individual, the ideating principle. Then after some time, the drop goes back into the ocean. So the I being created and I becoming the we. The we becoming the I becoming the we becoming the I becoming the we. Same thing happens every time you breathe in and breathe out. Every time you breathe in, the energy of the whole cosmos is becoming you. That is the prana of the universe is becoming your prana. When you breathe out, your prana is becoming the prana of the universe. And that is why whenever you are breathing in, it is a birth. Whenever you are breathing out, it is a death. So, irrespective of whether we believe in reincarnation or not, you can at least know that you are breathing many, many times, 24,600 times per day, according to the scriptures. You are breathing so much, how are you born? பிறந்த உடனே நம்ம மூச்சு உள்ள இழுப்புமா வெளிய விடுவோமா? In or out? Those who say in, when we are, see, you are born with the inhalation, you die with the exhalation. The first breath of life, God breathed into man the first breath of life, it is said. The first breath of life and the last breath he took his last breath, we say. Last night at 2 a.m. First breath, so breathing in, so you can understand your whole lifetime as the first inhalation, the time period between the first inhalation and the last exhalation. That is your lifespan. First inhalation to last exhalation. That is your lifespan. So every inhalation and exhalation cycle is like a mini lifetime. So never think, oh, I regret I could have done this. You can do it with the next breath. Oh, my last lifetime, my future lifetime. No. Next breath you can do. Your next breath is like a new lifetime. And what does Patanjali say? He says this Ishvara, pure consciousness, coming through us, we are all Purusha. The term Purusha means an individual who is capable of consciousness. But that consciousness is a reflection of the Supreme Consciousness. This is the thing. It's like the moon and the sun sort of. So we are like the moon. The sun is the pure consciousness of Purusha in Sankhya, Ishvara in Yoga. That Ishvara, who is that Ishvara? He says, Klesha Karma Vipaka Ashayai Aparamrishta Purusha Vishesha Ishvara. That Ishvara is a special Vishesha Purusha, special entity. They call monad, M-O-N-A-D. This is another word given. I get confused between nomad and monad. Both seem to be wandering aimlessly. But anyway, so I always have to think, is it nomad? No, nomads are nomadic tribe. Monad. They use the term monad in thing. Every one of us is a Purusha, but the problem is we are bound by two things, Klesha and Karma. So what does it mean? Eradicate Klesha Karma, you are Ishvara. Very simple. Ishvara plus Klesha Karma is you. You eradicate Klesha Karma, you become Ishvara. This is actually the formula here. A very simple formula by Patanjali. And what does he further say? Klesha is the root of the karma. Klesha moola karma shaya, he says. And that is why the kleshas are the most difficult part of the human existence. When you want to eradicate the kleshas, he has given a tool called Kriya Yoga. Tapa, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana. Deep, intense self-discipline is tapa. The fire of self-discipline. Intensity. You know, you're on fire, man. Yeah, that fire. Swadhyaya, introspectional self-analysis. Asking yourself that question. Koham, koham, koham. Who am I? Nan yar. Am I doing the right thing? What am I doing? Is it the right? Is it the wrong? Asking yourself. Constant what is called Atma Vichara. Asking yourself the question. And then, after you have made the effort, after you have regulated yourself, Swadhyaya is the internal GPS system to know where you are going. Final thing is called Ishvara Pranidhana. Giving over to the cosmos. Thy will be done. You give over to the highest consciousness. So people say, oh, surrender. I say, not surrender, acceptance. If you think of it as acceptance, with acceptance comes freedom. As long as you're holding tight, we do that in relationships. Yoga or relationships. We hold tight. We love the person so much we suffocate them. And then we wonder why they want to escape. We have suffocated them with our love. Acceptance is freedom. Acceptance is that moment where everything can transform. That is why when patients come to us, we find they go through 4 phases. We call it Dada, D-A-D-A. Like we used to call Saurav Ganguly Dada and all. Inge Dada sonna vera vidhamaayidum. University mein to hai. No issue. First D is denial. Whenever something happens, who made that noise in the class? Not me, sir. Who threw the chalk at the teacher? Not me, sir. Who did that bad graffiti in the bathroom? Not me, sir. You have been diagnosed with cancer, not me. Your life is a mess, not me. It's not me. No. Denial is the first human response. Matrix has copied this dialogue. In Matrix also, in second part of Matrix, at the end it comes, the first human response is denial. First thing, because we want to be safe. If I say not me, then I don't have to worry about it. Government offices are very good in that. They know, not me. In the file illappa. And the office pa. Bureaucracy, every place is the same, okay? Not me. The other thing in bureaucracy is no. It's easier to say no, then you don't have to do anything. If I say maybe, I'll have to do something. If I say yes, I have to do something. So, to say no. Our Shanmugam sir nalla theriyum. He goes to the foreign registration with our students, foreign students. Each officer, denial but now over years you create acceptance. First one is denial. Second, anger. என்னையா சொன்னே ஐய் நான் பண்ணலையே அவன் பண்ணான் அவன் போய் கேட்க வேண்டியதானே. So first thing, when a diagnosis comes, when something happens, you deny it. Second thing, you get angry about it. And in anger, what happens? You go to hell. That is what our deans so beautifully brought out. In that anger, you are in that turmoil of burning yourself. And they say in hell, everybody burns. You burn with anger. Nobody says you cool down with anger. I'm so cool with my anger. Said no one. Second is anger. Third, depression. My life is bad. My professors are bad. My university is bad. My classmates are bad. The food sucks. Internet is slow. You go into depression. Denial, anger, depression. Now in all these three stages, when faced with any life challenge, you do nothing. Because you are in denial, you do nothing. Because you are in anger, you do nothing. Because you are in depression, you do nothing. Then comes the fourth stage, acceptance. It is only when acceptance stage comes, you can do something about it. You accept there is a problem, you try to find a solution. As long as you deny there is a problem, so many of us who are heads of institutions, as a director of an institution, I am telling you that, 2 institutions. One is our own ashram and one is at the university. It is very easy to deny there is a problem. Students face that with us. I accept that. Even last night at 10:30, my students know that night 11 o'clock also they can send me a message. Sir, results are not coming in time, sir. This is totally bad, sir. Now, the first thing is, what do you say? There's no problem, it will come in time. Now I don't have to think about it, right? Now I don't have to do anything. But the moment I say, and then I say, how dare you tell this to me? It's 10 o'clock at night. You are sending me a message. Don't you know I'm director, professor? Come and meet me at 9 o'clock in my office. Anger, second. Third one, my students are so bad, I cannot even sleep at night. And they're disturbing me. I had one like that. I was deep asleep and one phone comes. 12 o'clock at night. Sir, my name is not there in the competition list, sir. What I will do, tomorrow morning I'll see. No, sir, 12 o'clock tonight is the last date for this application. I'm like, Yama, I don't even know what competition you have applied. See, I'll tell you, denial is very easy. Anger is very easy. Depression is very easy. Acceptance is the tough one. Because when you accept some problem is there, you have to do something about it. You cannot hide anymore. When I accept that I am the problem, I have to change something. My father used to say very often, he said, you don't have problems. You don't have problems, you are the problem. And it's a very good thought. You often look at situations, it will be all hallabala. You come out of that room, everything is soft and normal. So then you ask yourself the question, who was the problem? And this is where the problem doesn't exist until you identify with it. This is another very important, strong concept that comes with yoga also. That is why Patanjali asked the question, he says very clearly, If you don't know what you are looking for, you will not find it. And people say, no, sir. For example, a dog walks into this room. You all will know a dog has walked into this room because it is not expected, okay? In a university classroom, you don't expect a dog to be walking in. I'm sure it's happened because this happens every place. We often have monkeys in our classrooms. No, I don't mean the students, I mean real monkeys, okay? Without ID cards. They actually come, we had owls come into a classroom some time back. We think, I would know there's a dog. I would know there's a cat. I would know this. No, you will not know something. You will not see something that you don't know. And this is a very tough one because you say, but I learn about it. And so you go, there's a very beautiful video. I'll give you one idea. You try to find this video of a gorilla doing a Michael Jackson's moonwalk. There's a beautiful video on the net. Now, see, anyway, I am giving the secret of the video away, but it's okay, fine, because you will spread it to others. It was made in the UK, I believe, so that people will look for cyclists on the road. Because when they are driving, they don't look at cyclists. So they wanted people to look for cyclists. So they said, if you are not looking for it, you don't see it. So here what they have is two teams are playing basketball. One team is in white, one team is in black, and they play basketball and they say count the number of times the ball is passed. And so you see this and you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And after 2 minutes of this video, the question comes, did you see the moonwalking bear? And you're like, moonwalking bear? I didn't see anything. And they play back the video. And while these kids were passing the ball, there was a person in a bear costume, a black bear costume, coming, doing a moonwalk, waving at the camera and going by, and you didn't even see it the first time. It's astonishing, I tell you. That video, the first time I saw it, I was like, wow. Our ancient teachings are not wrong. If you are not looking for that bear, now once you look for the bear, you will see it. There are a few more videos of that type, so I will not give all the game away. What we need to understand is the kleshas and the karma. Unless we eradicate that, we cannot manifest our divinity. And that is the ultimate goal. What is called kaivalya in yoga. Yoga's goal is not just normal blood pressure, normal blood sugar. Those are side benefits. They are the fringe benefits of the main thing. It's like the popcorn and chips at a movie theater. They are not the real show, but they are nice. So the benefits of the asana pranayama are only one component. The bigger philosophy of yoga enables us to understand who we are, why we are here, what we are doing, and live with a sense of awareness. There are 4 levels of awareness. Awareness of the body, awareness of the mind, awareness of the emotions, and then you come into what is called awareness of awareness itself. It is a state of flow. In psychology, we call it flow, a beautiful state of being. This was taught by my father, but then my mother said, but Swamiji, there's one thing before that. He said what? She said, awareness of how unaware we are. We need to first start by realizing we are unaware. We don't know what we are doing. We don't know what we are saying. We don't know how things are happening. That awareness is the key to growth. Through awareness, we develop growth. And that is why yoga has been defined as conscious evolution. Growing into a better version of ourselves. Doesn't mean purusa edo kombu molaikum appadi illa. What it means is that you are growing into what can be considered your maximization of potential. Each one of us has a potential. Swami Vivekananda quoted the Vedas when he said every soul is potentially divine. Now it wasn't, we say Swami Vivekananda said, actually he quoted the Vedas in saying it, but we attribute it through him. We have that potential, but are we manifesting it? It is like, when we are in school and when we are in college and university, the teachers say, this is a student with bright potential. Do they manifest that potential? And that is why we as a human, we have the potential to be divine. That growth curve is what yoga is about. So I would like to conclude at this point because I know pre-lunch, low sugar, hypoglycemia leads to a bit of dullness. So I'm going to close here, thanking you for this opportunity. And I do accept our Dean's proposal that we will take it up as some workshops on specific topics, that then the students can get some academic credits for it. Through the Indian Yoga Association, we have a 50-hour foundation course. So if your syllabus can be matched to it at some point, you can get a certificate in the foundation course from IYA. Currently, the chairman of the governing council is Sri Ravi Shankar. Earlier it was Swami Ramdev. The current president is Ma Hansaji, the Yoga Institute in Mumbai. Earlier it was Guruji Nagendraji. And it has all the high-profile Indian traditions as part of it. So we will work towards this and collaborate between the Institute of Salatogenesis and your own School of Humanities in whatever way you want. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.